Hello viewers, this is Bhavana, Bhatia and I welcome you all to 19 Influencers Talk on COVID-19 series in association with TechXP. Viewers, today we have with us a renowned face from the radio industry in the Indian subcontinent with over 25 plus years of rich experience. With past stints as a business head for FAT Productions to being the Chief Programming Officer, Radio, Entertainment and Events at Fever 104 FM, with advertising at Lintas, Planet M, he's launched some of the India's leading radio stations like Radio Mirchi and Radio City. Viewers, our next influencer is charismatic, dynamic and an entrepreneurial individual. Well, the industry calls him G. Some even call him Sharma Ji. And he's somebody who's got an undying passion on professional theatre, singing, MC and a voiceover artist. Viewers, help me welcome none other than the Chief Programming Officer, Fever FM, Radio 1 and Radio Nasha, Gaurav Sharma. So, hello Gaurav.
Woohoo! Take a minute. I think, I've just realized that I wouldn't want to necessarily social distance with you, so I will get my mask off. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Gaurav. It is so good to have you on the series. It's so amazing.
No, it's so good to be on this series. That's the only way I could see you and meet you. Otherwise, meeting is kind of not happening. And I have to tell you that I am a big fan of yours. Yeah, I absolutely love what you do. I love your story. I think it's an inspiration, and I think we should kind of turn it around. When you end your influencer series, we should have one special episode where I get to interview you. Yeah, I think that will be such a delight for everyone.
That's so kind of you, Gaurav. And, when it comes to the radio industry, I couldn't get anyone possibly better than you. So thank you so much for being a part of this. It really means a lot to me. Thank you for that.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Like I said, that it's an honor. And, the only reason I want to tell everyone I've agreed is because this is the only way I get to see this beautiful face and get inspired.
Thank you so much, Gaurav. That's very kind. And Gaurav, now I'm going to move on to my first question, which I'm sure the viewers would like to know. Oh. So Gaurav, with the ongoing pandemic, every industry has been impacted. I want to know in terms of radio industry, could you throw some light on that?
Of course, I can throw some light. So I do want to tell you that I think going ahead radio as a medium, it's not just a medium that needs to be heard, but it needs to be seen as well. Yeah. And it's no longer just radio, it's radio plus digital. Look, I think all the industries have gone through their challenges, their fair share of challenges. I think we have too. But I think the one fabulous thing that's happened to radio is that we've seen our listenership increase, in fact. So the listenership has increased by 83%. More people listening to it, because if you look at the mediums that are being consumed, most of the mediums like television have a prime time. Yeah. Then you have newspapers, and for a while, a lot of the societies were not allowing newspapers to be delivered. So the one medium that was with you, the one medium that has always been your friend and will continue to be your friend and has avoided giving any kind of fake news has been radio. So really the credibility of the medium is fabulous. The 360-degree approach of the medium is fabulous, where not only do we entertain, but we also inform. So it's all about infotainment. It's all about giving the right kind of news. It's all about endearing radio jockeys with whom listeners have a relationship with. And I think they've kind of taken this relationship to the next level. So like I said, that listenership has actually increased by 83%. Of course, there are challenges. We were not used to working from home. And suddenly we found ourselves, to having to broadcast from the residences. And that's kind of what happened. So just imagine a radio jockey live जा रहा है, वहाँ पे, बीवी बोल रही है, अरे तुमने झाड़ू नहीं की, मम्मी कह रही है कि अरे बेटा खाना खा लो. There's a crow outside going, caw, 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 caw. There's no soundproofing happening. So, of course, we had to kind of face all of these challenges. Has the quality been, altered? Not at all. In fact, I think that, what's happened is that these 2 months has been a great opportunity for everyone to kind of sit back and to kind of analyze the strengths, the weaknesses, the challenges, and and like I said, come back on the top. So whether we're working from home or whether we are from the studio, we are very advertiser focused, we're very listener focused, and I think that's where the focus is, and nothing is taken away from that.
Sure.
Of course, revenue has taken a hit. Of course, that is a challenge. And of course, our team is working on innovations, on different ways of kind of bouncing back and getting that revenue. But otherwise, as a medium, I think we're on our way right on top.
Gaurav, I remember coming across the industry initiative like 100 Hours and 100 Stars. And that was a non-stop tribute to COVID warriors on behalf of the radio industry. Also to your personal initiative with the very engaging Antakshari with Sharma ji on Instagram at 8 p.m. Now, do you see, Gaurav, a rise of the digital initiatives rolling out in the future? And do I also see any amalgamation happening between the ongoing radio programming across your platforms with digital as a long-term strategy? What do you have to say about that?
Like I said, that it is no longer just radio. It's going to be radio plus digital. Sure. I think both these mediums will coexist. Radio, like I said, will not just be heard, but it will always also be seen. All the presenters, all the radio jockeys are aware of that, and I think they are all very social media savvy. And of course, they are kind of taking full advantage of that. And we are ensuring that whatever we kind of dish out on the radio, we're also equally putting out on social media. You just mentioned about one of the initiatives that we did, 100 Hours, 100 Stars. Sure. When the lockdown started, we realized that there was a lot of stress. There were a lot of uncertainties. People were not used to being locked in. And, we needed to kind of de-stress people. We needed to give them a lighter atmosphere. We needed to kind of give them a distraction. We wanted them to get involved with whatever they can at home. And therefore we said, okay, let's combine the audio and the visual medium. And I think it is probably one of the biggest initiatives that has happened on radio and digital, where for a period of 100 hours, so non-stop 100 hours, which is a little over 4 days, we had a celebrity, an influencer coming in every hour, talking to the listeners, talking to the viewers, and telling them about what inspires them, telling them about how they are handling the lockdown phase, and how to get through these tough times and these challenging times. So yes, we kind of combined the strengths of radio and digital. The same property was on radio, the same property was on digital. If people wanted to hear what people had to say, then it was radio. If they wanted to see the celebrity, then they kind of came on to the digital medium. So yes, 100 Hours, 100 Stars was, I think, very ambitious, because this happened within a week of the lockdown. But like I said, that the entire team got together, 3 brands, Radio Nasha, Fever, Radio One, everyone got together and they said that we will make this happen, used their personal offices, connected with some of the biggest celebrities, the biggest influencers from all walks of life, whether it's sports, whether it's entertainment, whether it's art, whether it's business, whether it's politics. And everyone came down and everyone was there to inspire the larger audience. So yes, I think it was more an experiment for, I think, everyone to see whether this works, whether this is something that is feasible, which is something that will kind of hold us in good fort for the future. And it did. So it was fabulous, and kudos to the team, and really kudos to see how the entire radio industry has come out of this and has kind of accepted the digital medium as much as they have radio, which was always their medium.
Correct. Gaurav, also, you have such rich experience, and, what is that one advice you would like to give to the aspiring RJs, who, want to be in this field? And, I've recently heard you again at 9 p.m. So it's so firstly good to hear you back on the radio. Could you tell, a key advice to all the aspiring RJs?
Look, it's not just for the RJs. I think what is key is, and I think that to me is going to be the key word for the next couple of years. So I think whether you're in business, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're an artist, and irrespective of what age bracket you belong to, the key word is, are you relevant?
Hmm.
So even for a radio jockey, for a brand that's coming back after COVID, a brand that is restarting or re-energizing itself, it's about how relevant we are in today's world. So a
Sure.
radio jockey will succeed if he or she is relevant. And in order to be relevant, you need to be a good communicator. You need to be a good listener. You know, we're seeing that people are at home and they're going through challenges,
Hmm.
and even you know, things like depression are taking over. People are not being able to handle themselves. Who is that one person they can reach out to at all point of time? Which is that one medium which is live? It's radio. And what does a radio jockey need to do? He needs to be a good listener. If
Hmm.
he's a good listener, he's able to reach out to everyone and make sure that everyone is positive. So it's about being relevant. I think that's the key thing. You know, if you're a 15-year-old, you need to be relevant. If you're a 50-year-old, you need to be relevant. If you're an actor, you need to be relevant. If you're a radio jockey, you need to be relevant. If you're a brand, you need to be relevant, because brands that have stopped being relevant have don't exist anymore. So
True.
I think that's the key word. Every day we wake up in the morning, I think we should ask ourselves, are we relevant? And of course, post that, we need to realize, is that relevance being able to create that impact? The impact needs to be there. If you're a radio jockey, then
Hmm.
are you being able to create an impact? Because you're there, not just to talk. You're there to be an influencer. You're there to be a motivator. You're there to inspire. And you can only do all of these things if you can impact people. A good boss is someone who can impact his team and therefore inspire his team. So for a good radio jockey, again, A, are you relevant? If you're relevant, you will be heard. And second, how deep
Hmm.
is your impact on your listeners, on the people, on the larger audience as a whole?
That's a brilliant answer right there, Gaurav. And I'm sure the reason why everyone's so happy having you as a boss back there, it just shows now, because every word you say has so much of depth and so much of knowledge to it. So thank you for that answer. Now, Gaurav, for my next question, when it comes to events and experiential space, I come from that, and due to the social distancing norms, we all know that the physical events haven't been happening, and a lot of virtual events are happening of late. Gaurav, just as a piece of advice, or rather, what would you like to talk in terms of the virtual events which are happening? Do you think that this trend will continue, or do you feel that the physical events will somewhere come back, or do you see, they say there's a hybrid version. There would be physical events and there would be virtual events. So, what's your take on that, and what would you like to tell to the event owners right now, Gaurav?
Look,
Please.
I think there's a curve, right? I mean, I think every industry sees a curve, and I think right now, of course, we've seen a curve where it's kind of flattened out, where there are no live events happening. But of course, that's because of the pandemic that we're going through.
Sure.
We will also see a phase where this pandemic will reduce its impact, where people will start, like coming back, bouncing back, like they say. And once the bounce back happens, then of course, suddenly people will all want to be outside. Yeah, so you will see a surge of live events. You will see probably everyone out. Yeah, the streets, there'll be more people on the streets than probably indoors. So that is also a phase. But I think the curve will flatten. I think there will be a plateau, and I think the beauty part of it, and I always look at a glass half full. I never look at it half empty. I always look at the opportunity, and I think what will happen is that both these
Hmm.
will coexist. You will have digital events which were, I would say that they were hardly there, right?
Absolutely.
And now suddenly there is a surge of digital events, and it was all about on ground. And I think we will also kind of learn. We're also learning. We're also adapting, and yes, I think both of them will coexist. In fact, I think that there will be a lot of events that will happen digitally also, because there are some people who will get used to this. They will get lazy. They will not want to go out, and they will kind of say that, "नहीं यार, हम तो घर बैठे बैठे enjoy करेंगे." एक artist को perform करते करते, AC चला के, get a drink, and we will enjoy. So that will also happen. But there is the younger generation will want to be out and about. So I think both will coexist. And again, like I said, we
Sure.
need to adapt. We need to make sure that as an artist, as an event management company, we're able to adapt and we're able to be relevant to both the mediums. And I
Sure.
think you can't negate one from the other. And I think that is the magic. So I think that one positive thing that it's told us as human beings, we anyway kind of we learn to adapt, right? We move on. So I think that's what's happened. And everyone's been talking about bounce back. Will the events business bounce back? You see, what is the definition of bounce? Bounce is something that hits the surface and gets back again, hits the surface and gets back again. So what is important is how well we bounce. What is the impact of that bounce? And when we are 20,000 feet above, we can see what's below us. So we have to assess the situation every time we are on top. Every time we are on top, we should be able to look down, assess the situation, and therefore realize that let's not impact the bounce so much that it flattens. So it's really about, and even in life, we go through ups, right? And we go through our downs. The idea is to make sure that the highs and the ups are a lot more than the lows. So when we're bouncing, we need to quickly एक नीचे देख लें भैया कि क्या हो रहा है, जो गहराई है वो कितनी है. Assess the situation and make sure that you bounce harder so that you're always on top.
True. Gaurav, that just leads me to another question. Gaurav, all the artists currently, be it the singers, be it the MCs, and be it the musicians and everybody around there, who were so used to the live events, and currently everyone's transitioning to virtual events. Even a lot of hosting is happening there, or a lot of people are doing Facebook lives and collaborating. And what's that one advice on how can they capitalize at this time? All the artists, like, what do you think they should be doing? Should they upskill? Should they just sort of relax and be like, it's okay, let's wait it out? What's your take there, Gaurav?
You see, I mean, of course, I would say that I think it's about collaboration. I think collaboration is key. Whether you're collaborating with people at home, whether you're collaborating with other artists, whether you're collaborating with other businesses, whether you're collaborating with other functions, I think collaboration is the key, because that's what it's doing, right? What are we doing? We are collaborating right now.
Sure.
You are at your place, I am at my place, but we are still communicating. And there are going to be viewers who are watching. There are going to be listeners who are listening. It is at the end of it all collaboration. So it is the magic and the power of collaboration that will bring in rich content, that will bring in innovation. So to me, it's about critical thinking. First of all, we have time at home. So we should be doing some critical thinking as to, okay, what is it that we need to do next? That's critical thinking. To be able to identify what are my goals, what are my short-term goals, what are my long-term goals. Critical thinking is important. Then communication. I need to be ready with my communication because, again, like I said, I'm going solo here, you're going solo there. I need to be able to communicate my thoughts, communicate my vision. Thirdly, like I said, collaborate. That is the key. And once you've collaborated, all of it needs to be executed with super creativity. Because creativity is what separates one idea from the other. So to me, it's about these 4 C's. It's about critical thinking, it's about communication, it's about collaboration, and it's about creativity. And I think if you combine the 4 of them, like I said, again, it's not just about entertainment. It's about a business. It's about an entrepreneur. It's about an MC. It's about a voiceover artist. It's about a musician. It's about an actor. An actor needs to figure. I mean, I heard that now film studios are figuring out that for intimate scenes, for romantic scenes, they're going to be using a CG. They're going to be using computer graphics because there is social distancing, and two actors, at least for the next few months, may not want to kind of come within 6 feet of each other. What happens then? So of course there is someone thinking. There's critical thinking happening. There is communication. There is collaboration. And like I said, well, creativity takes it all. So I do feel that these are things which are very important for every person to imbibe. And it's no longer become one industry versus the other. These
True.
are challenges that are being faced by everyone in their own way. We need to get out of this. We need to make sure that these philosophies or these, this thinking or these formulas or these parameters, they're relevant to everyone.
Sure. Gaurav, I want to ask one concluding question. We've spoken about it, but, you've rightly said about the radio industry. How do you see it, evolving in terms of, let's say, 1 year down the line? You've spoken about digital events and amalgamation coming. Just your one final thought on that before we conclude this with you, Gaurav.
Uh, I see that radio. Let me go back. In 1979 there was a song by this group called the Buggles which said, "Video killed the radio star." Video died and radio stayed. In 1984, Queen said, "All I want is Radio Gaga," and radio has kind of lived. Himesh Reshamia said, "Ki man ka radio bajne de zara." So radio has always been a theater of the mind. Radio always gives birth to your imagination, to your fantasies, to your vision, to your thoughts. And I think that's the power of radio. So I see radio only going from strength to strength, because radio will become one of those credible mediums where people will come there to listen to a song. People will come there to know the traffic update. They will want to know what's happening in business. They will also want to know what's the next film releasing, whether I can win tickets. It's a very real medium. It's a very interactive medium. So I just see radio going from strength to strength. And it's going to be a Radio Gaga all the way.
So yes, thank you so much, Gaurav, with the Radio Gaga all the way, which is going to happen. And it is so incredible to see you personally. It's being like virtual space, but it's so good to see you. So once again, a big, big thank you, Gaurav, for joining us.
Thank you.
Gaurav, it has been very energetic, and I knew before even starting the conversation with you that it is going to be a very exciting and an enterprising conversation, and which is going to go down the history of conversations of radio industry. So thank you so much once again.
Thank you so much. And really, I want to tell everyone who's watching that please follow the series that Bhavana is doing. She is just doing such a fabulous job. Getting different leaders in the industry. In fact, a whole lot of my friends, I didn't know, but when I saw Nare, I said, good friends there. It's such a fabulous work that you're doing, inspiring people, like I said, while people are at home, while people are going through this lockdown, ensuring that you're getting the right voices heard and the right voices reaching out to the right audience. So really take a bow and a big pat on your back, and keep doing the fabulous work that you do. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Gaurav.
Thank you.